Hi students and welcome to the class. The first thing you need to do is you need to go to aplusstudents.com. You need to go to the website. Then you need to select math as your subject. This is a grade 7 math lesson. The topic for today is data and graphs. The chapter number is, I'll just give you the chapter. The chapter number is 23. Chapter number 23. And the lesson is lesson number 1. And what we would be doing in this topic is we would interpret tables. So let's go to the website. Grade 7 topic, chapter number 23, lesson number 1. And let's see what we have as the first question. See, the first question says there is a grid given to us, and I'll just copy the question. Okay, this is the given question for us, and this is the value. Just a moment, let me just realign this so that we can. Okay, a statistics lab requires students to draw cards number between 1 and 6 and track the results. So these are the results given to us. Okay, what they are asking us is, this is also a question number 1. So drawing a number between 1 and 6. Number 1 was drawn. Frequency is basically the number or the repetitions. Okay. Okay. The frequency of anything is the number of repetition. That means number 1 was drawn 15 times. Okay. Number 2 was drawn 0 times. Okay. And so on. So in the question, what they're asking us, which number was drawn the fewest time? If which number had the lowest frequency? So we say that lowest frequency would mean fewest times, right? So what number can we see which has the lowest frequency? 2 has the lowest frequency, right? That means 2, since 2 has the lowest frequency, that means 2 was drawn the fewest time. That means true was never drawn because it was 0. Agreed? And if I would say which number was drawn the most number of times. So we will look at the highest frequency. 1 has the, no, sorry. Let's see, my bad. Let's look at the complete graph. 2 was 7, 4 was 13. This is also high. 5 was 1, and 6 was 16. So we can say 6 has the highest frequency. That means 6 was drawn the most number of times, and the most number of times would be 16. Okay. So I thought, like previously, I just saw the one that was 15. I was assuming an answer. Apologies for that. We need to go through all the values. Okay, we need to go through all the values to compare. That meant 5 was done one time and 3 was done 7 times. Now we compare all the values. Okay, so frequency is basically the number of times anything is repeated, right? Okay, so we were looking at the values of numbers drawn and their given frequency. Okay, let's see another example. Okay, and the question says the researcher working. Okay, just a moment, please. Let me just copy paste. If this was given to us, and let me just realign this. Okay. A researcher working for a cereal company cereal company surveyed the people about their cereal consumption habits, right? And these are the habits which are given to us. Okay. So it shows us that how many people eat how many cereals, or what number of time they eat the cereals, right? I'll just realign this. Okay, if this is given to us, how many people ate fewer than 2 times? Okay, so let's see. 0 times eaten was done by 5 people, right? That means 5 people did not eat. Agreed? And one time was eaten by one time was eaten by 3 people, right? But we can say that 2 times was eaten by 11 people, right? But what they are saying over here is fewer than 2 times. That means what are the fewer values? The values for the fewer would be this 2, right? That means 0 times and 1 time. That means we add the frequency of these two values and we say 8 people 8 fewer than 2 times. That means it would include the people eating 0 times and it would include the people eating 1 time, right? So we would combine the values and we'll see less than 2. Okay. If they would have asked us how many people ate exactly 2, then we would say 11 people did. If they would have asked us how many people ate more than 2, then this would be more than 2, right? So if the question part B, let's suppose I just write a statement. 13 people ate more than 2 times, right? And exactly 2 would be 11, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Let's see a few more examples. Okay. Okay, the next question we have says the Middletown Tourism Office researched how people played miniature golf last summer. Okay, it's about golf, how many people are playing it. Let me just copy this. Okay, so let's see what we can find over here. They're just talking about, just a moment. Okay, I just realign so that the information is very properly displayed to us. Okay, just do that. Okay, and the question was this. So the question number 3 states that the Middletown Tourism Office research how often people played miniature golf last summer. Okay, so these are the given frequencies to us. 0 times plays 1 person, right? one time was played by 9 people, two times was played by 8 people, three times was played by 17, and four times was played by 30. So the question they're asking us is states that how many people played mini golf exactly twice? Exactly twice means we just need to look at this. Exactly two. So can we say 8 people, because the frequency for exactly two was 8 people played mini golf exactly twice. Okay, so we can have multiple questions out of it. They can say what, how many people played the most with the highest frequency. So we will look at the highest frequency. If they say the least times played, we look for the lowest frequency, right? Okay. The standard, the repetition of the questions would be the same. Sometimes they would ask the maximum, sometimes they ask the minimum, sometimes they would ask for a specific. Okay. Okay, let's look at another question. I'll just copy the question on the screen. Employees at Traverse Movies track the number of movies that customers rented last month. Okay, they're just tracking the movies that were rented. Okay, so just a moment. And this is the graph or the grid that is given to us. Okay, so let's see for this particular question, question number 4. Number of times the movies were rented, 0 times were rented, for the frequency was 4, 1 time rented was the frequency was 3, and so on. How many customers rented a movie more than 2 times? See, this is 0 times, this is 1 time, but this was exactly 2 times, right? What we need to find is more than 2. More than 2 means the movies can be rented thrice, or movies can be rented 4 times, right? So that means we look at the frequencies over here. And what is the frequency for more than 2? That means it is 17, right? I'll just highlight this box again, right? That means more than 2 means 3 times or 4 times, right? And the frequency for 3 times was 1, and the frequency for 4 times was 16. So we can say 17 customers rented more than twice, right? Agreed? Okay, thank you. Let's have a look at the next question. The next question says, just a moment, please, and let me get this question. I'll try to make some additional parts in this, okay? So that we don't just do one question for one part, maybe we can have 2 or 3 parts in it, okay? So the next question says, just a moment, let me realign this. Office manager counts the number of letters sent by each of the company's employees each week, right? And this grid gives the frequency for the number of letters that have been given out. Okay. So this would be our question number 5. And let's suppose this was our part number A. So what they're saying is letter mails, 0 letter mails were mailed were by 19 employees. There were 16 employees who mailed a single letter, right? There were 18 employees who mailed 2 letters. There were 12 employees who mailed 3 letters, right? There were 4 employees who mailed 4, and there were 17 employees who mailed 5, right? So what they're saying is, how many employees are there in total? Okay. When I was reading this, I said there were 19 employees who mailed 0, right? So we are trying to look at the frequency. The frequency is giving us the total number of employees. Okay. So can we count the total? When we add all the frequencies, it will give us the total number of employees for this particular question. 19 plus 16 plus 18 plus 12, sorry, 12, 4, and 17, right? So it should come out to be equal to 86, right? So we can say the total for this comes out to be 86. Okay, one more information we have is this sign is used for sum in maths, right? So we can say sum of frequency is equals to, when I'm writing, this means sum of frequency, okay? So that means the total of, what is total of the frequency, right? That means how many employees are there in all? There are 86 right? In total, right? There are 86 employees in total, okay? If I would add another question to it, uh, what was the least number of employees mailing? Okay. So when we talk about least employees, we can say this would be the lowest frequency, right? Right? So we can say there were 4 employees. Agreed? The lowest frequency. We can have a question about highest frequency as well, right? Or we can say, what was the employees who mailed more than 3 letters? Okay, let's suppose find the number of employees who mailed more than 3 letters. More than 3 means they could be 4 or it could be 5, right? Because they were maximum 5, right? So 14, 4 plus 17 would be, what is 4 plus 17? That would be 21, right? That means 21 employees. Okay, so we can create multiple questions out of a given question. Okay, I was just showing you the samples, but usually what they're asking us is one question to be answered from a given data set. Okay, okay. If we have a look at another question that says, okay, As part of a statistics lesson, Miss Russell asked her students how many jackets do they own. Okay, so a survey is being done about students owning jackets. Okay, so once we have a look at this, we can say it was about jackets. This is our question number 6. Sorry. So for in question number 6, what they are saying, number of jackets owned. So zero number of jackets were owned by 9 students, right? One jacket was owned by 6 students, two jackets, 18 students, and so on. So the question says, how many students owned less than or fewer than 5 jackets? Fewer than 5 jackets would mean we need to look at 0 can be fewer than 5, right? 1 can be fewer than 5. 2 is less than 5. 3 is less than 5. 4 is less than 5 also, right? That means these number of jackets are, so when we add this frequency, it comes out to be, what would be the total of the frequency? Can anyone help me out? That means it would be 9 plus 6 is 15 plus 18, that is 33, plus 5, 38, plus 7, right? That should be 45. So we can say 45 students own fewer than 5 jackets. Okay. And if I would say how many students own 5 or more jackets. So we know that it could be 5 or more than 5, right? So we simply say these number of people, that is 24. 24 students is the answer. For this, there are 24 students who would be owning 5 jackets or more than 5. There are 45 students who own a jacket that is less than 5, right? Because it says fewer than 5. It never says equals to 5. Okay. So once we move ahead, stuffed animals. Okay. The next question is about, as a part of stuffed animal drive to the local children's hospital, the students at Wells Elementary recorded how many they have collected, stuffed animals they have collected. Okay. Let's see. Just a moment, please. If this is the given information, we need to find this. So this was our question number 7. It's about collecting number of stuffed animals and the frequency. 0 stuffed animals were collected by 0 student. That means every student did their part and collected something, right? So if I would say, what was the maximum number of students what was the maximum number of students collecting the number of stuffed animals, right? So if we want to see the maximum number, okay, so we say 20, right? 20, okay, so 20 was the highest frequency and the lowest would be the 0 over here. Let's see what they exactly are asking us. Okay, 20 is the highest frequency and the lowest would be the 0 over here. Let's see what they exactly are asking us. Okay, 20 is the highest frequency and the lowest would be the 0 over here. Let's see what they exactly are asking us. Okay, 20 is the highest frequency and the lowest would be the 0 over here. Let's see what they exactly are asking us. at least 2, right? At least 2 means it could be 0, it could be 1. Okay, if it's 0, 1, that means less than. Okay, we need to see over here what at least means. At least 2 means it could be 2 or more than 2. When we are doing 0 and 1, that means fewer, less than, at most 2. Okay, so when we are saying at least, it would mean it could be 2, it could be 2 or more than 2, right? So what is the condition? It could be 2 or it could be any number that is more than 2, right? So what is the total of frequency over here? 2 plus 6, 8, 8 plus 11, 19, 19 plus 1 is 20. So we can say how many students have at least 20 students. Okay, but if I would say how many students have at most 2 stuffed animals. See, at most means maximum 2. So it could be a 0, right? It could be a 1, but it's saying at most 2. That means it could be 2 as well, right? So when we add them, it comes out to be 22, right? 2 is common in both of these values, right? So if we don't want to include 2s, then we would say how many students have at most 1 stuffed animal. Okay, if it says at most 1, then it could be 0 and 1. But if it says at most 2, then it could be 0, 1 or 2. Agreed? Okay, good. Let's move ahead. Are there any questions in regard to this? If there are any questions, kindly let me know. Okay. The next we have is a school is interested in okay, expanding the playground. And they are doing a survey. Let's see what they are doing in the survey. Just a moment, please. Sorry. I'll just realign this. A school interested in expanding its playground counted the number of times that students went down the slide during the recess. And that is our question number 8. A grid is given to us which shows the information. Okay. So the question they're asking is how many students went down the slide more than 2 times? More than 2 means it cannot include 2, right? So it can include 3 or it can include 4, right? So what was the total of the frequencies over here? More than 2 would mean a total of 19, right? So we can simply say 19 students went down the slide more than 2 times. Okay? Very specific question. Let's have a look at the next one. Just a moment, please. Okay, during a science lab experiment, Professor Hans six-sided. Okay. a die is usually a die is one, dice would be plural, right? So what they are doing is they are rolling a die. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, this then we can put it over here and let's realign so that's easier to read. During a lab exercise, students in Professor Khan's class rolled a six-sided dice and recorded the results. Okay, this would be our question number 9. Okay, so when they rolled the dice, these were the results. Okay, so one can we have a 0 on the dice? We cannot, right? There are only 6 possible numbers on a dice: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Unless and until the numbers have been changed, altered, right? There can be alterations done. They can say A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Rather than 1, 2, 3, alphabets are written, or any other set of numbers are written. That is also possible, but that would not be a standard dice. Okay, that would be an altered dice. So they would inform us. Okay, which number was rolled most times? How do we know which number was rolled most times? Most times should be highest frequency, right? So which number has the highest frequency? Can we say this or we compare this, right? That means we say this was the highest frequency. So we can say 1 was rolled the most. Agreed? Because it has the highest frequency. So which number was the least? Okay. If we say this was part A, part B, which number was rolled the least? So we would start looking for lowest frequency. These are above 10. Then we have below 10, right? So we can say 6 was rolled the least number of times. Since 6 has the lowest frequency, right? And by chance, in this case, 6 was rolled 6 times. So it could be a 6, it could be any other number, right? So what we need to do is we just need to compare. Highest frequency would always be the most, and lowest frequency. Frequency means how many times anything is being repeated, right? So the lowest frequency would mean, in this case, 6 was the lowest frequency, and the number rolled was 6 as well. That means 6 was rolled the minimum number of times. That means if the experiment was done multiple times, 6 was the number that came out least number of times. Okay. Let's have a look at another question. The soccer coach is preparing for the upcoming goals. Just a moment, please. Okay. Let me copy this and realign. Okay. If this is given to us, let me just realign so that it's easier to read. The soccer coach is preparing. Okay. For the upcoming season by seeing how many goals his team scored the last season. Okay, they're comparing, they're doing the stats. So they want to see how many team members did not score a goal last season. Okay, this would be our question number 10. Did not score a goal. So for what we are seeing over here is goals scored, and this was the frequency, right? And they are saying 0 goals scored by 0 people. One goal is scored by 13 players, right? 2 goals were scored by 3 players. And out of these, 3 goals were scored by 17 players, right? But what our requirement in the question is, how many team members did not score a goal last season? Did not score means that we look at the frequency of 0 goals scored, right? Right? So we can simply say 0 players did not score, right? Did not score a goal last season, right? Or I would rather say all players scored goals, right? If everyone is scoring a goal, then there would be no player who did not score a goal, right? So answers can be given if you're writing a statement. The statement, the value, the frequency should be clearly defined with the statement, right? That's good. Let's have a look. Let's try doing some questions from the test, okay? I'll start off with the test. We look at some options and then we'll see what are the possibilities, okay? Just a moment, please. Let me copy. I'll just give the heading for the test so that at any point we would know these are the questions from the test and we can do the test together, okay? So the first question given in the test says, a statistics lab request draw numbered cards between 1 and 6, track the results, okay? So they're just picking up cards between 1 and 6 and they're looking at the results. Just a moment. Okay. So in question number 1, what we can say is the number 1 was drawn by 15 students. The number 2 card was picked up by 0 students, right? And 3 was picked by 7, 4 was picked by 13, 5, the number card 5 was picked by 1 student, and the number card 6 was picked by 16 students, right? And the question they're asking us is, which number was drawn the fewest times? The least, fewest would always mean the least, right? Fewest is least, but in this case, the least what? Least frequency. So what should be the answer? Should it be card number 2 or card number 3? Should it be card number 2 or card number 3? Let's look at the grid. The card number 3 was drawn by, yes, thank you. Card number 3 was drawn by 7, whereas card number 2 was drawn by 0, right? So we are looking for the least or the fewest, right? Yes, thank you. That means the answer would be 2. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. So do we agree on that? Yes, thank you. So we click on 2 and we move on to the next question. And by chance, if ever you click on the incorrect answer, right? So it will show you the correction. Okay, don't worry about it. What is the correct answer if you've done a mistake? You will always have your correction there. Okay, so Let's see, what about the next one? It's about a playground, the number of students went to the playground. Let's see. How many students went down more than 2 times? More than 2 times, they're saying. Option A and option B. Went down the slide more than 2 times. So what would be more than 2? Can 2 be included? If I say, if in your class, if I say I'm selecting students who are more than 15 years old, so they might be a few, right? So those few would be selected, but 15 years old will not be selected, right? So in this case, they're saying it was the number of times they went down the slide. 0 times were done by 18. That means 18 students did not go to the slide, right? 1 times going down the slide was done by 7. 2 times was done by none. That means uh, going down twice was done by 0, right? Thrice was done by 15, and 4 times was done by 4, right? So how many students went down the slide more than 2 times? More than 2 means we can include 3 and 4, but we cannot include what? We cannot include 2, because the term over here is used as more than 2. So we take the numbers which are more than 2, right? And what should be the answer? What should be the total of the frequency? More than 2 would mean it's 19, right? And option number B. For the next question, I'll wait for your response, okay? I will not give a hint. Okay. The next question we have is the soccer coach is preparing for the upcoming season. Okay. We did a similar question already. Maybe the requirements are changed. So they are just doing a survey on how many members did score, how many goals did each member of the team score, right? So this is our question number 3 from the test. And these are the 2 options given, A and B. Can I have the answer to this question? A soccer coach is preparing for the upcoming season by seeing how many goals his team members scored last season, right? So 0 goals were scored by 0 people, right? 0 players. That means everyone scored. 1 goal was scored by 13, 2 goals were scored by 3 players, and 3 goals were scored by 17. How many team members did not score a goal last season? There were 0 players, right? Who did not score, right? So the question could have been the other way around also. If it was a statement, all players scored a goal, or we say yes, we say 0. Lowest frequency refers to the number of goals scored. That was 0, right? Thank you. Let's move ahead. Let's see what is what are the other possibilities. If we say that the Middletown, okay, just a moment, let me copy. The Middletown Tourism Office researched miniature golf in the summers, right? They're doing a survey on the golf in the summers, and they want to see how many people play. Okay. Let's just simply enlarge this. Okay. So this was our question number 4, and it's giving us the number of people, the times played by the frequency, right? 0 times was played 1 time. That means one person did not play. 1 times 9, 1 had a frequency of 9, right? That means 9 people played 1 time. Agreed? So what they're asking us is find the number of people who played exactly twice. Exactly twice, right? We don't want to do more than 2. We do not wish to do less than 2. We wish to look at exactly twice, right? Yes, thank you. What Since 2 only has one value over here, then option B would be the correct answer, right? Please do complete the remaining questions. Very simple questions these are, right? We just need to find the specific values, and give them a try. Okay. Best of luck, and I'll see you soon in the next lesson. Take care. Have